I would like to take a moment real quick, and I want to personally apologize to every Ole Miss fan that is out there. That is absolutely heartbreaking. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, and I will wish an Ole Miss a good luck in the playoffs because that was crazy. But getting that out of the way, guys, the regular season is over, which means we are on to conference championship week predictions in the college football season. Man, this season flew by way too quick, but luckily there's a lot more games. So, a lot more games to predict. Last week I did very, very good, especially on rivalry week. I went 16-3. That is very impressive, which brings my all-time record to 164-52. Some big predictions I got correct. Ohio State beat Michigan. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee on the road, and Georgia beat Georgia Tech. The ones I got wrong were Texas upset Texas A&M, Cal upset SMU, and Arizona beat my Arizona State Sun Devils. But we live and we learn. So, getting that out of the way, let's get right into it. Okay, first game on our list. It is the Conference USA Championship. It is between the Kennesaw State Owls and the Jacksonville State. I don't know what their mascot is, but Kennesaw State's 9-3, Jacksonville State's 9-4. These two teams actually played in the regular season against each other, where Jacksonville State would win. For Kennesaw State, this is their first ever conference matchup, and I think it's their second year ever being a college football program. So, congrats to Kennesaw State. That is amazing. I don't know much about Kennesaw State, but I know quarterback Amari Odom threw 3 picks last time they played Jacksonville State, so he has to get those under control. They need to play well defensively. They also let up 35 points to Jacksonville State, obviously. For Jacksonville State, keep the scoring up. Jacksonville State has scored 30 or more points in their last 3 of 4 games. Use the same game plan you used against Kennesaw State in the regular season. And, of course, try to force as many turnovers as you can out on them. But I feel like we're going to have an upset in the year. So give me Kennesaw State to win 36-33 and win their first ever Conference USA Championship. All right, coming up next, it is the Sun Belt Championship between 8-4 Troy and 11-1 James Madison. I believe James Madison is ranked. This video was recorded before the new rankings, so just so you know, I'm not doing the rankings. These are just the conference championship games. For Troy, try and keep it competitive. James Madison, I believe, is a 21.5 point favorite, so it's very lopsided. You need to have a game plan to stop quarterback Alonzo Barnett. He is very good. James Madison's defense is also really good. You saw against Washington State, I think they had a fumble 6. For James Madison, best advice I can give to you is get an early lead and then hold on to it. It's very, very simple. Be ruthless on both ends of the ball. I think they will. Give me James Madison to win the Sun Belt 42-23, and this will be their first ever Sun Belt championship. All right, coming up next, it is the MAC championship. It is between Miami, Ohio, who is 7-5, and Western Michigan, who is 8-4. These two teams played, of course, in the regular season, where I believe Miami, Ohio won, but it was extremely close. For Miami, Ohio, I heard that their quarterback left them to go to the draft. I'll definitely put something on here if he did it, but I heard about that, and that's very weird to me. But Western Michigan has a really good quarterback named Brock Lowry, and he's very, very effective on his legs. He's the leading rusher for Western Michigan, so Miami, Ohio needs to contain that. For Western Michigan, if they don't have their quarterback, I think you guys have a better chance. This is the first time Western Michigan is in the MAC championship since 2016. I believe they'll use the game in the regular season as fuel. And Western Michigan has looked very, very solid. They ended the season on a 4-game winning streak. And I think they'll pull it out here. So give me Western Michigan to win the MAC championship 20-17. All right, coming up next, it is the American Athletic Conference. The matchup is between North Texas and Tulane. North Texas is 11-1, Tulane is 10-2. Both teams look very, very solid. For North Texas, this is their first ever American Athletic Conference appearance, actually. They had an amazing year. They beat a lot of good teams. Their one loss came to USF, where they had, I believe, like 8 turnovers. So that's my advice for North Texas, is you cannot turn over the ball here. And your offense needs to be elite, has it been the last few weeks. And for Tulane, this is just going to be an easy rebound. But North Texas has scored 150 points in their last 3 games. Your defense needs to step up this game if you guys want a chance to win. You cannot get into a shootout with this team. You need to force turnovers and have long, efficient drives that waste time, so North Texas does not get the ball. As I always say, the best defense is by holding on to the football. I think it's going to be extremely close. I can see both teams going at it. But I just think that North Texas offense is too good. So give me North Texas to beat Tulane 34-32 and win their first ever American Athletic Championship. All right, coming up next, it is the Mountain West Championship. And for the 3rd time in a row, it is UNLV versus Boise State. Boise State won the previous 2 times, and they beat UNLV in the regular season. I think it was like 56-21 or something like that. UNLV's 10-2, Boise State's 8-4. Again, UNLV looks very solid, but you have to defend. You gave up 56 points last time you played these guys. You cannot do that again. You need to have that chip on your shoulder. If you guys want a chance to win this game, you need to execute on defense. For Boise State, I'm not sure that if their starting quarterback is still injured, Maddox Madsen. I don't know who the backup is, but I don't know if he's playing, but we'll see. You need to start fast like you did last time. The reason why Boise State got that lead so high is because they scored 21 points in the first quarter. If you do that here, you should be fine. You also need to force turnovers on UNLV and don't let them get the chance to respond. This game's very tough to decide. But UNLV just cannot beat Boise State. So I think Boise State is going to win barely 21-20. And they're going to three-peat in the Mountain West. All right, coming up next, this is a very interesting one. Duke, who is 7-5, made the ACC championship over Miami, over SMU, over Pitt, over Georgia Tech, over, I'm guaranteeing missing another team, but Duke made it of all teams. They're taking it on against Virginia, who is 10-2. Duke, they lost to Virginia earlier in the year. I believe it was like 34-17. This is your chance to get revenge. This is Duke's first time here since 2013. You need to get stops. Darian Mensah needs to have the best game of his career if you guys want to win this game. And I believe if Duke wins, I don't think the ACC will get a playoff team. So that is very weird. For Virginia, this is their first time here since 2019. Use the same game plan you did against Duke in the regular season. Pressure Darian Mensah. Chandler Morris needs to cook. This is your chance to make the college football playoff. I can't believe I'm saying that. Virginia in the college football playoff. Maybe if it was a different matchup against Virginia, I would choose the underdog. But I can't because it's Duke of all teams. So give me Virginia to win the ACC, their first ever ACC championship. And they're going to move on to the college football playoff. Okay, moving on, it is the Big 12 championship. It is another rematch. It is between 11-1 BYU and 11-1 Texas Tech. And if you watched their earlier matchup, you know Texas Tech blew BYU out of the water. I think it was like 26-7 or something like that. For BYU, this is their first ever Big 12 championship appearance. You need to have a better offensive game than you did last time. You need to figure out Texas Tech's defensive schemes. I know they're very good. Jacob Rodriguez just wreaks havoc at linebacker, but you need to figure something out. BYU, you need to give Texas Tech 110% because if you lose, you're not making the college football playoff. I'm being straight up. They will put Texas, Vanderbilt, Miami over you. They will. Texas Tech, this is also their first ever Big 12 appearance. Just be ruthless on defense, Texas Tech. Pressure the living heck out of Bear Bachmeier. And you need to stop LJ Martin. LJ Martin's actually been having a very good slate of games recently, slate of performances. I think that's a better word. So you need to stop him immediately. Also, yeah, I said it here. Be ready to defend the run. I think BYU gives Texas Tech their all. I can see them leading at halftime, but I think Texas Tech is just going to pull through. So give me the Red Raiders 24-16. That is their first ever Big 12 championship, and they punch their ticket into the college football playoff. All right, coming up next, this is a big one. The SEC championship between 11-1 Georgia and 10-2 Alabama. Another rematch. Alabama, of course, beat Georgia on the road. Fun fact, Georgia and Alabama have played each other in 4 SEC championship games, and Alabama has won all 4 of those games. For Georgia, this is your chance to get revenge, of course. You cannot stall in the second half like you did in the regular season. Your defense needs to step up. You can't allow big chunk plays to Jeremy Bernard, and Mike Bobo needs some better play calling, especially in the clutch. And your receivers, of course, need to catch the ball. Also, make Alabama run the ball. Alabama is not a running team. They want to throw it. That's where their talent is. For Alabama, they've been having a sluggish last couple weeks. They barely beat Auburn. They did blow out Eastern Illinois, but Ty Simpson, I think, threw 2 interceptions. And, the South Carolina game, the Oklahoma game. Like, they have been a little bit sluggish. Also, Alabama, what happened to Ryan Williams? Seriously. He got no targets against Auburn. All the targets are going to Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, their other receiver Brooks, who's really good, and Josh Cuevas, the tight end. Like, what happened to Ryan Williams? Alabama, this is a must-win. I just saw on Instagram, if you guys lose this game, you will not make the college football playoff. So, you need to win. You need to stop the run, because Georgia's very good at running the ball, and you need to hold on for long possessions. Again, the best defense is by holding on to the ball. I actually found a fun fact earlier when this game was extremely difficult to predict, but there has only been one time in history where Georgia and Alabama have played each other twice in one season. And that season was 2021, where Georgia beat Alabama the second time. And I think it's going to happen again. So give me Georgia to get revenge and beat Alabama in the SEC championship 27-24, and they'll get a bye week in the college football playoff. All right, final game of the video. Of course, it has to be the Big Ten championship. 1 versus 2. Undefeated Indiana versus undefeated Ohio State. The only 2 undefeated teams remaining in college football. Heisman candidate against Heisman candidate. Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sayin, Elijah Surratt, Jeremiah Smith. Indiana, this is their first ever Big Ten championship appearance. The best advice I can say to you is you need to handle the pressure of Ohio State's defense. I have seen no one handle the pressure of Ohio State's defense very well. I know Illinois, I think, scored 16 on us. But they had mistakes. They threw picks. They fumbled the ball. They couldn't score at the goal line. They let up like 4 sacks. So you need to find a way to score because this Ohio State defense is very, very good. Like Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Jermaine Matthews, Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, Caden McDonald, like Jalen McClain. Who else did I say? Devin Sanchez, Lorenzo Styles, Sonny Styles, like Edric Houston. The list goes on, and they're so deep and they're so good. You need to find a way to score. Advice for their defense: you need to stop the Ohio State receivers. Indiana did an incredible job against Oregon and their receivers. So, yeah, you just act like it's a little bit of a better Oregon team, pretty much. You need to pressure Julian Sayin, of course. Julian Sayin had all day against Michigan, so you need to pressure him, make him out of his comfort zone, and he'll make mistakes. Ohio State, you need to win the trench battle like you did against Michigan. That game plan was absolutely beautiful. Bo Jackson looking like one of the best running backs in the nation on Saturday. That was awesome. Secondary, you better be ready to play. Elijah Surratt, Amarian Cooper, sorry if I mispronounced your name, are very, very good receivers. I actually really like Elijah Surratt. He has so much separation whenever he does those comeback routes. He cooked Oregon so bad when they played him. Fernando Mendoza, all it was come back to Surratt, 6 yards. Come back to Surratt, another 7. Come back to Surratt, 5+ yards. Like, he is so good. Our secondary better be ready. We can beat this team. We can beat this team. I know they're very good on offense, but we have the defense to combat that. If we get up early and we force 3 and outs, I don't see how we can lose. And I don't think we will. Give me Ohio State to win the Big Ten Championship for the first time since 2020. Alright guys, that is going to be the video for today. I cannot believe that the college football season is almost over. But I cannot wait to watch. I won't be able to watch every game, but I'll watch majority of them, especially the Big Ten Championship. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching me. And as always, be safe, folks.